Have you ever seen a building collapse? Not because of an earthquake, not because of a bomb, simply because the foundations could not support what had been built on top of them. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Walls straight, facade immaculate, windows gleaming in the sun. People walked past and admired it. Nobody looked underneath, nobody asked questions. And then one day, without warning, everything came down. Your ego is exactly that building. You spend years perfecting the facade, painting the walls, impressing the people walking by. Meanwhile, underneath, the foundations are cracking, and the real question is not how to make the facade even more beautiful. It is why you still refuse to look at what is happening below. We are often told to be confident, to assert ourselves, to not let people walk all over us. And in this prevailing discourse, the ego sometimes comes across as an ally, almost an indispensable friend. So why master it? Why impose this effort on yourself? After all, if it gives us energy, ambition, that feeling of existing, is that not enough? But look at what happens around you. How many relationships broken by someone's inability to admit they were wrong? How many disastrous decisions made solely to save face? How many entire lives devoted to accumulating proof that one is worth something instead of simply living? An unmastered ego does not push us forward. It makes us go in circles, always within the same loop. Validation, comparison, fear of other people's judgment. Mastering your ego is therefore not about weakening yourself. It is, on the contrary, consciously choosing who holds the wheel. This is where Spinoza enters the picture, and his thinking illuminates this subject in a striking way. For him, we believe ourselves to be free because we are unaware of the causes that drive our actions. The ego is precisely this ignorance made flesh. It convinces us that our desires for recognition, our need for dominance, our prideful reactions are free choices, when in reality they are nothing but mechanisms, conditioned reflexes shaped by our fears and our wounds. According to Spinoza, true freedom does not consist in doing what one desires, but in understanding why one desires it. It is this understanding that sets us free. Mastering one's ego from this perspective is not an externally imposed constraint. It is the most sovereign act there is, reclaiming self-knowledge in the very place where illusion had abandoned us. He also distinguished between two types of power: the kind that seeks to impose itself on others, to dominate them, to diminish them in order to feel greater, and the kind that seeks to increase one's own capacity to act, to understand, to create. An unmastered ego traps us in the first. Lucidity opens us to the second. And therein lies the entire difference between a life that is endured and a life that is fully inhabited. I remember a conversation with a friend who was going through a difficult time at work. He had made a mistake on a project, a minor mistake in reality, but his manager had mentioned it during a meeting in front of the entire team. For weeks, he could talk about nothing else. He would reconstruct the scene, search for arguments to justify himself, imagine sharp comebacks he had not had time to deliver. The mistake itself was forgettable, but the blow to his image was consuming him. Listening to him, I realized something. It was not the situation that was hurting him. It was his ego's resistance to accepting it. All that energy spent not on growing, not on making things right, but on protecting an image of himself that, deep down, was only asking to evolve. This reminds me of an idea found in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. It is not events that trouble us, but the opinion we form of them. And often that opinion is dictated by the ego, that inner judge who turns every scratch into a humiliation and every contradiction into an existential threat. So why master your ego concretely in your everyday life? Because as long as you do not, you react, you do not choose. Someone says something that stings and you flare up. A comparison unsettles you and you spend your evening ruminating. A compliment inflates you, and you make a reckless decision. You are no longer the author of your actions. You are their product. Mastering your ego means creating a space between what happens and what you do. That space is where your freedom and your dignity live. It is in that space that you can choose to respond rather than react, to listen rather than defend yourself, to learn rather than justify yourself. And paradoxically, it is when we stop needing to prove our worth that we become truly capable of expressing it. The people who have the most impact, who genuinely inspire others, are not those who try hardest to impress. They are the ones who have enough inner clarity to be fully present with others, without the permanent filter of their own image getting in the way. Start by observing, not to judge yourself, but to know yourself. The next time you feel a surge of pride, a sting of jealousy, or an impulse to justify yourself at all costs, ask yourself one single question. Is it me acting, or is it my fear of being inadequate reacting? That question alone can change everything. Mastering your ego is not about becoming invisible, nor about giving up your ambitions, nor about accepting any kind of treatment thrown your way. It is simply about refusing to let your deepest fears drive your life in your place. As Spinoza understood, self-knowledge is the most direct path to a truly free existence. So the next time that inner voice takes up too much space, remember that you do not have to obey it. You can hear it, understand it, and choose differently. And it is there, in that quiet and daily choice, that something far more solid than any image is built, a real identity. If this reflection resonated with you, take the time to sit with it. Like, comment, share, if you feel someone around you might need it. And see you very soon for more questions worth asking.